Daddy loses money. Albeit these guys are getting such a deal, Daddy's not losing that much money. So, so take that, Mr. No Raise in 48 years.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblum, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk here on the Sports Talk Media Network. Welcoming you into a brand new week after a very busy weekend. We've got a full week of Sports Talk for you tonight. I know with the holiday coming up, many of you will be scooting here and at SportsTalkSC.com that you can click on and listen to us that way. So there's no excuse. There's no excuse for not being with us tonight or any night on Sports Talk. Chris Bergen is with us after his many travels over the past several days. Pat Daniel is here as well in our Columbia studio. And our phone number is 888-898-2525. That is the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. We got a lot to talk about. Of course, put your finger on the biggest story of the weekend here in South Carolina. South Carolina State winning the HBCU national championship. Coastal Carolina winning its bowl game. Clemson beating South Carolina in basketball. South Carolina getting a primo football commitment on Saturday night. A lot of big stories to talk about from over the weekend related to the in-state schools. We are going to hear from Jamie Chadwell coming up here at 6:35 and talk about the big win in the bowl game that Chris was at. And then scheduled for 7:35 is South Carolina State coach Buddy Pugh. We had Tanner Bailey set to join us at 7:05, the new USC quarterback commitment out of Gordo, Alabama. He texted me just a little while ago, apologized. We've rescheduled him for tomorrow night. He had a family dinner that had been planned for the same time he was not aware of. And so he'll be with us tomorrow night. So a lot of things to talk about. 888-898-2525. Of course, Panthers lose again as their season continues to go down the drain. And we got USC women and Stanford basketball tomorrow night. That's number 1 versus number 2. Stanford just handed Tennessee its first loss of the season. So should be a great matchup in Columbia between two powerhouse women's basketball programs. Chris, good to have you back with us. I know you've been traveling between coastal football and coastal basketball. You saw a good basketball game in Murfreesboro, Tennessee yesterday. Yep, but you saw an even better bowl game in Orlando. And congratulations to Coastal Carolina. They make history with their first ever bowl victory in just their second bowl attempt. And I know that's got to be a point of great pride for the university and for the relatively still new football program.
Mm-hmm. 19 years in existence as a football program, Phil. They'll celebrate their 20th anniversary next year, and they get to do so with a first ever bowl win, leading them into that offseason. And I'm not sure, I've been around Jamie Chadwell for a while, as you have. I'm not sure I've ever seen him more excited, happier about a performance by his football team. Defense was gashed for the most part, directly down the middle of the field by Northern Illinois. Coastal could not stop the run. Fortunately for the Chanticleers, Northern Illinois could not stop the passing game, nor the run. Their defense did not show up either, and Coastal, when it had to, made some key stops in the fourth quarter, and then you watch them drive down the field late seconds of the ball game, go out of bounds at the 4-yard line, and before they can get the final snap of the game off, the clock runs out. Coastal storms the field, and it's just a terrific ball game. And I was joking with you, texting back and forth along the sidelines about the third quarter. I said, Phil, the Cure Bowl always delivers. That is 2 straight games that Coastal has participated in down there that have been nail-biting finishes. Of course, last year they played Liberty, and Liberty blocked a field goal in overtime to preserve their win. And here this year, Coastal has to find a way to get its defense to make one more stop, and it did, to preserve that win. So I was joking with Matt Hogue, the athletics director at Coastal, after the ball game, and I said, regardless of your record next season, the Cure Bowl is going to want you guys back. Even if somehow you qualify for the college football playoff, the Cure Bowl is going to want you to come back because they have delivered, I'm sure, terrific ratings. Because I don't think, just watching some of the other bowl games thus far and watching all the bowl games last year, I don't know that there was a more compelling one than Liberty and Coastal last year. And Phil, I think you're going to have to go some to find a more exciting game. Might have better defense or played in ball games, but I don't know that you'll find a more exciting game than what Coastal and Northern Illinois put on Friday down in Orlando.
Oh, it was exciting as it could be. Big swings offensively each way. But then when Coastal had to come up with a defensive play, you're talking about the way the game ended down deep in Coastal territory. I'm thinking about the fourth down play where Northern Illinois tried to get really fancy with things. And it was a, nicely conceived play where you had the quarterback kind of trying to fake everybody out by strolling along the line of scrimmage. And then they had the direct snap to the running back. But Coastal was not at all fooled by that. The middle of that defensive line never moved, never turned their heads, and kept their eyes strictly on the backfield and watching the football. And they never gave that play a chance to work, and that was critical.
I've watched college football and college basketball and baseball and the NFL and the whole 9 yards, and sometimes it just amazes me as how dumb coaches can get. Northern Illinois rushed for, 300 some odd yards directly between the tackles. Then on third down and short and fourth down and short, they try and get cute. They had a play in the first quarter, which I still don't understand how this is legal in college, and I think even in the NFL now, where the quarterback goes into basically a scrum. It was fourth and short. He ultimately ends up rushing for about 20 yards on their opening scoring drive because they put him in basically a circle. He was directly behind the offensive line, and then the running back and tight end just ran directly into the line of scrimmage and pushed him down the field. And you've run that play before. Why try and get cute and try and outfox Coastal when you've proven, for the most part, up front, that your offensive line was better than Coastal's defensive line? And I think the direct snap gave Coastal enough time to fill those gaps because you had to go in fourth and one. Instead of just rushing 4 yards from under center, you have to have the direct snap. He's got to go 3 or 4 yards, and that takes a little bit longer. And I think that length of time was enough for Coastal to get that stop, and then they score on the ensuing play to take the, I think it was Coastal's first lead of the game when they scored in the fourth quarter after what I thought was just silly play calling by Northern Illinois, judging by what we had seen from them from 3 quarters.
No question about it. I mean, you're right. Just line up and run the football. Play to your strength. It was sort of like the end of the Packers-Ravens yesterday. And, I was thinking about, do you go for 2? Do you play for overtime? John Harbaugh opted to go for 2. Okay, that's fine. But he played into the strength of the Packers defense in that they rolled a very mobile quarterback. Huntley's fantastic. How would he look in a Panthers uniform? That guy is something else. But
anybody would look good in a Panthers uniform behind center right now.
Yeah, but my point is they rolled him to the right. Thus, you shortened the part of the field you had to cover. Of course, it was a short field already, being a 2-point conversion attempt, so you don't have to cover as much. And so the Packers were able to force pressure on him and force a bad throw, and they survived that. I personally, the reason he went for 2 there was because he felt like they're so beat up in their secondary. How are you going to stop Aaron Rodgers, et cetera, et cetera? But if you had scored the 2 even, the Packers still had 42 seconds and a timeout. You might not have stopped him anyway. I might would have taken my chances. You got a 50-50 chance of winning the flip in overtime. The way they were moving the football, the Ravens, if they had won the coin toss, they might have taken the football right down the field and the Packers and scored and won. That's the way I would have looked at it. But anyway, Coastal did a great job. We're going to talk to Jamie Chadwell coming up here shortly. And then the next hour, if all goes well, Buddy Pugh. And what a performance. Now, seriously, who saw that performance, that type of performance coming from South Carolina State? I know they had won all their MEAC games, and their record's misleading. They're talking about a 6-5 team. Well, keep in mind, they had to play Clemson. They had to go out and play, New Mexico State. They played FAMU, which is good. And I think it was Alabama A&M, I think it was. Yeah, good team.
And that was the game Buddy Pugh told us at the beginning of the season. He thought they had to win that one to get any momentum early in the year. Yeah, you're right. SC State had a really good non-conference schedule, so I don't fault them at all.
Yeah. So, and Jackson State came in with that glistening record, and of course Dion over there getting all the attention, and South Carolina State just went out there and kicked their butt. And some great coaching on that team, watching them make the proper calls at the proper time, offensive calls to offset what Jackson State was doing defensively. Their blitz calling was right on the money to put pressure on Shedeur Sanders, keep him uncomfortable throughout the ball game. Just a terrific performance by South Carolina State. And, man, have they gotten some love all around the country. I mean, they couldn't buy the type of publicity they've gotten all around the country. That's why they prefer to play in the Celebration Bowl and just play the one game versus going through the grind of the FCS playoffs if you get in and then you try to win a national championship. Hey, as far as they're concerned, they won the national championship for them. That makes them happy.
Well, and it would be extremely difficult for SC State or even Jackson State, just some of the teams from the SWAC and the MEAC, to run through that meat grinder, as you pointed out, Phil. It's always going to go through North Dakota State, even on a down year for the Bison. They're back in it playing for the national championship this coming weekend. So I think it's an excellent move. And Coach Pugh pointed this out quite bluntly to us. It's money. They get more money from playing in that bowl game than they ever would in the FCS playoffs. And as you pointed out, the terrific publicity they have gotten. And I think some of it is, you can't tell me there wasn't a little bit of across the country narrative of people pulling against Dion because they don't want to see him succeed, because of the braggadocious nature. And Dion, I think, is a wonderful addition to college football. I really do. But he brings a lot of this on himself. And I think there were some folks that looked and said, gosh, you got a really likable coach in Buddy Pugh on one side, and you've got this braggadocious loudmouth on the other side of the coin who's paying, who's getting the number one recruit in the country. I wonder how, that type thing. And so I think some of that, I think the love for SC State is probably as much love for the Bulldogs as it is just, not despising the football team, but maybe a little backlash at Dion and Jackson State.
All right, our phone number, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. I was up at Clemson Saturday night for the Clemson-South Carolina basketball game. Clemson, of course, getting the win, really pounding the Gamecocks inside, using the physicality advantage that they had over South Carolina. You don't think it should have been played? No. Because South Carolina was down. They were down actually 5 players because Cousinard was able to play, but not play at 100%. I don't know. I mean, they had enough players to suit up a team and have some reserves and have a bench. They had starters and they had a bench. I mean, look, you lost some key guys. Can you just pick and choose when you want to play?
It's a great question here, Phil. And here's the problem I have. And I'm not saying it. Let's assume I'll take Cousinard out of the mix because he was actually injured. The problem I have is the current policy and the protocols that are put in place allegedly by smart people that allow a situation like South Carolina got into this past week with 4 players who tested positive for COVID. I just saw earlier today, Kentucky and Louisville have canceled their game, or at least postponed it for, I guess, Wednesday night. They postponed it because of multiple players in the Louisville program that have COVID. Yeah. What is multiple? Well, wouldn't you qualify? Wouldn't you think South Carolina had multiple players that they had 4? This is a rivalry game. It's the biggest game. I get it. It's not anywhere close to football, but it's still. And here's part of the problem. We should treat it like we do with football. It should be a huge deal. Louisville, Kentucky, the reason they're not playing that game is because it's a big deal. We looked at it as, a pickup game at the YMCA on Saturday morning. There's no reason this game should have been played unless, and I hate the protocol, and I wish somebody would explain to me how vaccinated players who are asymptomatic are being tested for COVID. It makes zero sense. It makes no sense whatsoever, and we've got to get past this. We've found a way to live with virtually every other disease that has come down the pike, but we can't get past COVID and COVID protocols and the whole 9 yards. I mean, there's no common sense. That's what happened in March of 2020. The pandemic hit, but common sense went out the window. And Frank Martin was right when he said, I'm not smart, but I have common sense. I'm wondering if in the back of his mind, let's play this game. I'm shorthanded. I've got to run out basically my JV team because I don't have all my starters. And I'm going to go play, and we're going to lose because Clemson's a talented team that we would have struggled to beat with all of our guys. It would have been a terrific game. Instead, I don't have all my guys. Let me go out and lose and prove a point here. And if Coach Martin is that clever, props to him because he is 100% correct. The current protocols make no sense, especially now that we have a vaccine. If you are vaccinated and you are asymptomatic, please explain to me why players are being tested. Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
Maybe he was trying to prove a point. I don't know if you try to prove a point by losing a game to your biggest in-state rival and you allow them to continue to mock you on social media by, we own the state. I mean,
when
and
you think about it, to stop that. They don't own the state at that game. They didn't beat South Carolina.
But you know what?
They beat half of the game.
You look at the record book 5 years from now, you're just going to see the score. And,
I know.
And they're going to remind you that they beat you in football. They beat you in men's basketball. They beat you in men's soccer. They beat you in women's soccer. I think that's pretty much it for the fall semester. So they've pretty much owned the bigger sports of the fall semester over South Carolina. I hear what you're saying. I don't know that he had any choice but to play the game, to be honest with you. Be back in just a moment.
There was just a lack of Black women, business owners, entrepreneurs, creatives. Growing up, I didn't see that. I figured out that I wanted to be a photographer for women of color. I found my niche and I'm sticking to it.
Each year, the South Carolina Education Lottery raises millions of dollars for scholarships and grants that help students prepare for their dream career. Just like Kristen, your passion is our purpose.
The Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology, known as SIMT, is ready to meet your 3D printing, machining, and social media listening needs. Our list of clients includes business and industrial partners from around the state, the nation, and the globe. In addition, we are providing social media listening services to a variety of businesses and educational institutions, from large companies to law firms to small rural school districts. The SIMT also rents space for training, conferences, and trade shows. Catering services are available for events being held at the SIMT. We are dedicated to customer service and look forward to serving you. Check us out on the web at simt.com to see a full list of our manufacturing services, or give us a call at 843-413-2740.
Founders is offering a low-rate mortgage with up to $4,000 in closing costs to full-time hospital employees, honoring your frontline efforts against COVID-19. With no PMI, no origination fee, and no limit on the loan amount, you can't go wrong. Visit founders.com/HEC and apply for your hospital employee choice mortgage today. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply. Institution NMLS identifier number 410646. Founders is an equal housing lender and is federally insured by the NCUA.
All right, to your phone calls in a second. Of course, our phone number, 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery, lucky number, right into Sports Talk. And since 2002, more than $4.2 billion in lottery proceeds have been used to fund scholarships and grants for South Carolina students. Learn more about the South Carolina Education Lottery's impact at sceducationlottery.com/educationwins. And playing for fun is a win for education. Jamie Chadwell coming up, Buddy Pugh coming up. We'll recap recruiting. Raheem Jeter of Spartanburg committed to West Virginia tonight, the 2023 quarterback, picking West Virginia over Kentucky. We had a bowl game today. The Myrtle Beach Bowl was played over in Conway on the Teal at Coastal Carolina, and it was Tulsa coming away with the win over Old Dominion by a final score of 30-17.
ODU's biggest mistake, they ran the opening kickoff back for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And Tulsa ran them out of the building after that.
Kind of gave him that feeling of confidence that just should not have been there. And then we've got the NFL with games being moved around because of COVID. You've got the Raiders leading Cleveland 10-0, and they're just about hit halftime there. And coming up tonight, Minnesota and Chicago in the normal Monday night game. And then tomorrow you've got Seattle and the LA Rams are playing. And also the Washington football team is playing, or the Washington, they call it Washington Football Club, whatever. The Washington team playing the Eagles tomorrow. Both those games are at 7 o'clock. To your phones. We got a lot to talk about. 888-898-2525. And Robin Charleston, welcome up. First tonight here on Sports Talk. Good to have you with us.
Hey, how are y'all?
Good.
Just wanted to first start out by saying congratulations to South Carolina State. I was happy to see them pull that out. I completely agree with y'all when you're talking about why are we continually testing these athletes. Some of them, you want to talk about the professional ranks, world-class athletes in peak physical condition with, no symptoms. It's absurd at this point. I wholeheartedly agree with you. But I also wanted to give Frank Martin some pride. I'm a lifelong Clemson fan, season ticket holder. I watched some of his post-game press conference, and that he catches a lot of flack, and I think that's just because he's the man's man, and media and whole nine yards. They frown on that nowadays for whatever reason, and no excuses given. I'll look back in 5 years and say, well, they were missing guys, and I'm one of those people that I want to beat you at full strength because I don't want to hear any excuse. But both teams played pretty bad. We're going to be honest.
Neither team shot well. They both ended up in the low 30s. Much of the game, they were in the low 20s. It was not a pretty game from that standpoint. It turned late in the first half. Clemson put together a very big run, and South Carolina had no answer.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bricklayer's dream, if we're being honest. If you were watching that game, it's pretty bad. A lot of iron in that game. But both teams played pretty hard. I'm happy with the result. Obviously, but there's nothing to really hang your hat on. When you look back on it and you realize, Carolina wasn't at full strength, and but still, I just wanted to give some kudos to Frank Martin for how he handled the game and everything, and I'm a big fan of his for a couple of points that he's made throughout the years regarding his upbringing and where he came from and all that, and that's a true American dream, something that everybody should aspire, or not aspire to, but, to respect and appreciate. So,
no, I think aspire, coming from his background, to aspire to be where he is today and to reach it is quite a compliment. And thank you for your call. Look, the Clemson folks aren't making any apologies for winning. You never apologize for winning, regardless of the situation on the opponent's team.
But here's my point, to dovetail off of Rob's comment.
Yeah, let me just finish real quick. They were as happy in winning that game in the post game. Hunter Tyson, he made the comment. We just wanted to come out and prove that this is our state, and he didn't care who he played against. He didn't care if it was the the JV team had to be brought up. They had Gamecocks across the jersey, and that's all that mattered to them.
Well, it's the wrong approach, and I agree with Rob. If Carolina had all those guys injured and missed out playing, it's one thing. But there's no reason that South Carolina should have had 4 guys that have to sit out because they happen to test positive for a disease that's not going to bother those kids at all. Games should not have been played. It should have been postponed, rescheduled, so both teams would have been full go.
South Carolina State, red hot in basketball, leading the Citadel 61-50. 6 minutes to play. Jamie Chadwell coming up.
On Point weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast: cloudy this evening with a low dipping to 36. Tomorrow is the first day of winter, and it'll feel like it with heavy rain in the afternoon, likely at a high temp of 47. Things improve Wednesday as some morning rain clears out for the afternoon, and we're back up to 59 as a high. The rest of the week is wonderful, including 70 and sunny on Christmas. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and model.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. Joe Manchin delivering a death blow to President Biden's $2 trillion domestic initiative, saying he can't support the package. The West Virginia Democrat has single-handedly thrown his party's agenda into jeopardy. Colleagues are furious and desperate to salvage what's left of they think a top priority. Moderna says a booster dose of its vaccine should offer protection against the Omicron variant. Moderna says lab tests show booster shots increase the level of antibodies. 2 Democratic senators have tested positive. Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, Cory Booker of New Jersey have both been fully vaccinated and say their symptoms have been very mild. Death toll in the Philippines from that huge typhoon has surpassed 200. This is SRN News.
Dave Ramsey here. Do you want your money to work for you rather than you working for your money? Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank and have been serving the Midlands since 1936, offering good old-fashioned customer service and free services. They'll look out for your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
I'm home. Why is it so cold in here?
I've got bad news.
What?
Our heat is out.
You're kidding me.
No, but there's a bright side. Our contractor says Dominion Energy offers rebates up to $500 if we upgrade to Energy Star qualified equipment.
That's nice, but almost sounds too good to be true.
No, I checked it out. See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Hey, I'm State Representative Chris Wooten.
And I'm State Representative Micah Cass.
Join us on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. on The Rep.
We'll talk about everything that's happening at the State House and give you an insider's perspective.
All from the General Assembly. So join us at 9 a.m. on The Point, 100.7 FM or 1470 a.m.
Have you spent a career in plumbing, heating and air, or even welding? Maybe you want to put the tools down or lighten your load, but you want to stay in the game. How about becoming an instructor with Midlands Tech and help train the next generation of skilled workers? Midlands Tech needs quality instructors. Maybe you still want to keep working, but pick up some overtime hours, passing on your skills. Call Michael Ross to learn more. Call 822-7065. That's 822-7065. You've got something to give. Midlands Tech wants your help.
Everyone knows that here at The Point, we are all about supporting local businesses. We are all about local, local, local. You cannot get more local than my friend Greg McCoy and his business, Simplified Mortgage Solutions. Fran Halloran here. If you're buying a home or you're looking to refinance your current home, you owe it to yourself to call Greg. He is the real deal. You can expect Greg to treat you like you are his only client. You can expect Greg to scour the market to find you the best rate available. You can expect Greg to charge you a fair price for his work and his service. Why would you deal with some national company headquartered in who knows where when you can do business with Greg? Need further persuasion? Okay. I didn't even mention the good Greg does in our community by supporting local charities like Blue Star Mothers and Camp Chemo. Come on. You need to call Greg. Online at simplifiedmortgagesc.com, or you can call Greg at 803-722-6044. That's 722-6044.
Keep fighting the spread. Wear your face mask. Stay 6 feet apart. And get vaccinated. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdhec.gov/vaxfax.
Well, the state of South Carolina off to a great start in bowl season thanks to South Carolina State and Coastal Carolina. They went out and took care of their business on Friday and Saturday and got us rolling into bowl season. We'll see if Clemson and then South Carolina can follow suit week after this, couple of weeks before those teams play. And we'll hear from Buddy Pugh later tonight. Let's welcome in Coach Jamie Chadwell from Coastal Carolina. We've been breaking down the game in the first half hour of the show, so we've talked about some of the X's and O's and the ins and the outs. The bottom line is Chanticleer's win at 47-41. Coach, you get that first bowl win in school history, something you'll never forget.
Hey, Phil, you're exactly right. You know, that we've had a lot of success the last couple of years, and that bowl game was the last thing that we needed to happen. And we definitely made it interesting, no doubt. But it was an unbelievable feeling to, one, experience that personally, but really just for that group of seniors, super seniors that we had. And that was sort of the last thing that they needed to accomplish in their career to set this foundation that we have. And it was a joy to watch them, the emotion they had of winning that game. And everybody says, you know, bowl games don't matter. That game mattered to both teams, and it was a phenomenal football game.
No question about it. And I tell you what, you're 2 for 2 in playing unbelievably exciting finishes in bowl games. I think bowl games in the future are going to keep an eye on you guys and say, hey, we want a close, exciting finish. These are the guys we want.
Yeah, as long as we win them, I'm great with it.
This is true. And you know what? You came up with just enough defense. I mean, it wasn't a game where defense was a big priority. The two of you combined for over 1,000 yards. But when you had to make some defensive plays, you did so.
We did. You know, they moved up and down the field on us for really 3 quarters and 3 quarters plus. But there in the fourth quarter, we were able to get 3 stops. We got the 4th down stop. We got the turnover, and then obviously that last 4th down stop there with the time to go. So we got 3 stops when we needed to. And at the end of the day, that's what mattered, you know, and it was going to come down to who ended up getting the most. And we were able to get one more than them. And that's a sign of a good team. Sometimes you don't play your best on either side of the ball, but you have to pick each other up. And we were able to do that. Talking
with Jamie Chadwell, 2 questions here for you. The attempt at the trick play on the 4th down with the quarterback kind of sauntering along the line of scrimmage, what were y'all yelling to the defense? Was that something that you knew about in advance? And number 2, at the very end, when they went out of bounds, were you a little surprised the officials didn't give them like 2 seconds there at the very end? How'd you see that? Those two plays.
Well, the first one, I think I was surprised they didn't just quarterback sneak it. You know, if they were going to go for it right there, I don't know why they didn't QB sneak it. But I think they were trying to do a little trick play. But if you watch the video, one of our defensive linemen calls it out. He said they're going to snap it direct, and we're hollering. Obviously, they're not hearing us, but our defense was ready for it, made a huge play. And then there at the end, once they ruled him in bounds. Now, first of all, he didn't catch the ball. You know, the MAC commissioner sent out it was egregious and all that stuff. If they reviewed it, it'd been our play anyway because he never called it. But you know, the rule in college football is you can't get a snap under 2 seconds if it's coming from a spotted ball. And so once they got to the 2 seconds, I knew they were going to be able to get the snap off anyway. So I thought the referees obviously handled it the right way.
And I was more surprised that they actually took that throw instead of maybe trying to go to the end zone. I was more surprised they were trying to get one play, throw it out of bounds and save it for one play instead of just taking a shot at the end zone. And so, fortunately, our guy tackled him in bounds, and it was a big play for us.
Yep.
Coach Braden Bennett had a terrific ball game for you, and he's been coming on out of the backfield, especially with injuries, and in particular to Reese White. Do you feel like Friday was sort of his coming out party, and what do you anticipate from him going into next season?
Well, he had a tremendous year, running the ball and catching out of the backfield. He was close to 1,000 yards combined with his rushing and pass receptions. And so he had a good year, honorable mention all conference for us. But I think from a national standpoint, I think, you were able to see his home run ability. I think he touched the ball 8 times for 130-something yards, total, and 3 touchdowns. And so he's somebody that we're very excited about. Obviously, people there in Columbia know his father really well, and he's somebody we're excited about the potential he has and how he's been able to really grow into our program. And we expect him to be an all-conference type of performer the next 3 years, and also maybe a player of the year candidate. He's got that type of ability in the backfield and outside.
Wanted to get your take on the atmosphere down in Orlando and certainly the venue. I don't remember Coastal ever having played a football game. Heck, I'm not sure many teams, period, have played in a soccer-only facility like the one down at Exploria Stadium. Did you like that setup and maybe the sort of intimacy with the fans virtually right on top of you? And did the players complain at all? Because I thought this might actually be a big factor. As bright as the lights were, especially in the end zone where you normally don't have lights for a football stadium, did that bother your team at all?
Well, the light thing never came up. I don't know if it did or not, but nobody mentioned it. I actually love the soccer stadium. I thought I was Ted Lasso out there, believe. And I think that was an intimate atmosphere. I don't know how many people they had in the stands. I don't know what the attendance was, but it seemed like it was loud. They were involved. I thought it was a cool experience, and I know our players enjoyed it. Obviously, that was the first time on grass in a long time as well. But I like that. Sometimes you play in. Last year we played in a big stadium, and it seemed empty because it's so big. I like them being on top of that, and I know our players did. And so, hopefully we get a chance to experience that again. The only bad thing is, the locker rooms are on one side of the field, and everybody has to go in that same side, and you have to walk in. So we had to wait on Northern Illinois at halftime, and they were doing a little sportsmanship and just waiting to go out. So, that was a thing you wish you could clean up a little bit. But besides that, I thought our players really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed the atmosphere and the environment that it had because they were on top of you. I mean, you look behind you and somebody can just see your plays. Gladly that Coastal fans were on our side.
Yeah. Visiting with Jamie Chadwell for a couple of more minutes here. Of course, as well as anybody listening to us and ourselves that one of the big topics going in, the future of your quarterback, Grayson McCall. Well, I mean, is there a future that anybody has to be concerned about? A lot of talk, a lot of speculation. We talked about it here. What can you tell us that from talking with him about, is there anything to talk about there with him? Is there a possibility he's played his last down for you guys?
We don't believe so. We believe he's coming back and finishing his career as Chanticleer. That's what he has said to us and led us to believe. And so we don't think any otherwise that's going to happen. Obviously, I'm also realistic. I've mentioned it depends on how many zeros are on the backside of a check these days, from that standpoint. But everything that we feel and from a coaching standpoint, from our locker room, from a player that, he loves where he's at. He loves being there, and he wants to finish out his career with us and help us continue to take this program to the heights it's been. So I think right now we're 100% he's coming back.
Do you have any belief, any knowledge, any feeling that any school or schools have tried to contact him through various contacts, various sources that can reach out to him?
I don't know anything from nobody's told me they have or haven't. So I'm not going to speculate, but we know how recruiting goes. So we'll figure that out down the line.
Yeah. And one more thing, you kind of hinted at it. From an NIL standpoint, where is Coastal Carolina set up right now to be able to, let's face it, they said NIL wasn't supposed to be used for recruiting inducements and all that kind of stuff, but you know as well as I do that it is. How are you guys set up to show your guys, hey, you don't have to go to the SEC or the ACC to get what you think you might can get?
Well, I think if you look at just Grayson, he just signed a deal with Tom Brady's Apparel, one of 9 people in the country to do that. And I think, and so that shows you from the standpoint of the brand that we have and that's what's been created, it's nationally recognized. And so I think we have a great opportunity for young people that come in our program. If they come out and they play well and really showcase on the field what they're capable of, there's going to be great opportunities there. We had a few guys this year that had NIL deals. I don't know what the extent of those were, but I think we're putting ourselves in a good situation going forward to be able to help young people reach their dreams on and off the field through the various opportunities we have there in the Myrtle Beach area.
All right. Last thing, next year, refresh us on what the schedule looks like outside the league, and then what kind of hit will you be taking in terms of guys who have, who have just finally run out of eligibility. I know you've got some who've been there, since the soil was turned to build that stadium, but you're finally going to lose some guys, it appears. So how does that look moving forward?
Well, we've schedule-wise, we have Army, Gardner-Webb, Buffalo, and Virginia out of conference. And then we'll, our conference schedule obviously will be tough as usual. And then we're losing a lot of good players, a lot of experience, a lot of great leaders. I do think we've recruited well the last 2 or 3 years. I think we've got some good young talent that are ready to showcase and step up, but they won't have the experience, Phil. That's going to be the biggest challenge for us is getting those guys playing to the type of level that we have been. Now they know what the expectation is, what the standard is, but they've got to reach those standards. And so I feel like we're in a good position, but we're going to have some guys step up, especially from a leadership standpoint. I think when you lose so many players we are, that you're going to miss their talent more than anything. You miss that leadership they display. And that's what we're going to have to really find this offseason, who's going to step up from a leadership standpoint.
Yeah. And one more thing with seasons now coming to an end, your season's over. There'll be, I'm sure, some head coaches looking at members of your staff, maybe trying to pluck somebody. How do you feel about the likelihood that your staff will return intact?
I feel solid about it. I know we've had a lot of success the last couple of years, and people are interested in what you do or how you do it, or who's doing it for you. And so I'm sure there's going to be some overtures, but I think our coaches, at least right now, feel good about the direction we're headed, and want to continue to be a part of this and help us continue to build it. Again, now when, somebody calls and there it might be a bigger level and more money at the end of the day, and our coaches will make the decision to be best for them. I hope we don't lose anybody because we enjoy what we're doing, but also understand the nature of the beast. And if it's something that can benefit them and where they want to get to ultimately, then you want to help them get there. And that's your job. I think your job as a head coach is you hope you build a staff that where they have the opportunities to continue to grow at other places because they've done so well where they're at. And if you've done that, and if you hire good people, that's going to happen. So I'd love to keep them all, hopefully, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Were you able to go into your office today and watch the Myrtle Beach Bowl from your office?
You know what? I didn't want to have anything to do with football, Phil. We had an unbelievable trip to Orlando, but getting back wasn't pleasant. And so it took us it almost took us about 14 hours to get back. And so I was ready just to relax and stay away from football a little while. So I'm sure Tulsa and Old Dominion enjoyed balling at the beach and on the surf turf.
They did. Hey, we thank you as always. Congratulations. Another fantastic season for you and your guys. You keep getting better and better. Looking forward to next year. Of course, we'll be talking to you before then. We'll talk to you during the spring and all that. But thanks so much for coming on. Have a great holiday, and congrats once again.
I appreciate it. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much,
Coach.
All right, Jamie Chadwell. All right, so
hey, quick trivia question.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, he
question,
fully believes McCall is the quarterback of the now and the future at Coastal.
I've told a lot of people I don't think there's much smoke to any fire to the smoke that's been out there. But Grayson was asked again after the bowl game about it, and he sort of gave a non-committal answer. He has, I think, why the story has sort of stayed circling around the program is Grayson has not come out and said, "I would definitely be back here at Coastal." He sort of joked that I'll be playing college football next year, but he never adds on to the end of that at Coastal Carolina, and I think that's what has sort of upset some people and kept that story going. I'm like Coach Chadwell. I'll be stunned because I think that offense is tailor made for him. And as we'll see when the draft rolls around in a couple of months, you're going to see Isaiah Likely as one of the first tight ends taken, and he's at Coastal Carolina. I wouldn't think that Grayson McCall, who just finished, I think, set a record in terms of QBR rating with the way he finished the season. I mean, he just had a phenomenal year. Now, that's obviously going to attract a lot of attention from Power 5 programs, so I think that's why all that story continues to hang out. But you heard Jamie Chadwell say he enjoyed playing in the soccer complex because it was natural grass. Coastal doesn't get to do that all that often. Phil, do you know the last time Coastal played a game on natural grass?
Natural grass. When's the last time Coastal played a game on natural grass? Let me think. Now, see, I don't know the services around the Sun Belt like you do. You have a great
you were
feel.
there. I'm pretty sure you were at the game. That may help you.
South Carolina?
It was 2018.
Really?
The season opener in Columbia against the Gamecocks was the last time.
Well, based on how that game went, they want to stay off of the natural grass.
They're now 1-1. You sort of bookend it. You're right.
That's a good one.
Isn't that amazing?
That's a good
because everybody's going to turf at sort of the smaller
throughout the Sun Belt. Everybody's got turf, huh? Okay. All right, break is coming up. How about this? South Carolina State has beaten the Citadel in basketball tonight, 74-57. TJ Madlock leading the way with 18 points and 8 rebounds for the Orangeburg Bulldogs. Back after the break.
COVID-19 booster shots are now available for all South Carolinians 16 and older. Increase your protection from COVID-19 by getting your booster shot. Learn more at scdhack.gov/COVID-19 booster. Keep fighting the spread. Wear your face mask. Stay 6 feet apart. And get vaccinated. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdhack.gov/vaxfax.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Parents ask, what's the best way to save for college? I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and my answer is always open a Future Scholar 529 college savings account. It's easy. You can get started online with any amount. It's flexible to adapt to your child's college dreams. And you can deduct 100% of your contributions from the South Carolina state tax return. So what are you waiting for? Go to futurescholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. futurescholar.com.
Relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. If you're looking for low rates, look to Founders. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Hey, the holiday season is here, of course. That means, well, wintertime. We got a little taste of winter today. I'm done with it. I'm ready for it to be over. Let's get back to 70 and 80 degrees. I'm tired of this 45-degree stuff. But you know what? It's going to get nice again before you know it. Even without the warm temperature, that's no reason not to go down to the beach and enjoy a long weekend or a week or longer. And if you need a great place to stay, to rent, or perhaps you want to buy some property, give our man down at the beach James Smith, Jimmy Smith, a phone call at James Smith Realty, 843-237-4246, or the website, Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. We have a great time when we visit there at James Smith Realty, looking at all the stuff they have. He has a tremendous staff. I mean, a tremendous staff. And former USC star baseball player Neil Geisler is part of that staff. And like he could hit for the Gamecocks, he could be a hit for you as well. So just give him a call and tell him you're looking for something to rent or something to buy. You want something there in Surfside or perhaps Paulie's, Litchfield, Garden City, all those beautiful spots along the coast of South Carolina. They have got the connections, they have got the properties, and they can take care of your needs. 843-237-4246 or Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. Your perfect beach getaway is simply a phone call away. All right, 888-898-2525 is the phone number. We go to Rodney. I'm sorry, Chris, you had a quick update before we go to Rodney.
I did before we go to Rodney. News out. I don't know that you guys saw this last weekend. I'm not sure it had been finalized, but USA Today is reporting the contract details for Tony Elliott at Virginia, if you'd like to know. 6 seasons. He starts with an annual pay of $4.1 million plus a $350,000 signing bonus. Annual pay then goes to $4.25 million in 2023, $4.5 million in 2025, and $4.55 million in 2027. Buyout for either party starts at $8 million.
All right, not bad. So he's got security, and he's doubled his salary, and he's running his own program now. So, and that's interesting because it'll be, as you heard Jamie say, they're going to play Virginia. Is that obviously early? Do you know when that is?
It's actually late November. It's the weekend that normally,
obviously it's early. It's in late November. So it's not early.
It's that same weekend that, the SEC and the ACC have to step out before rivalry weekend to play. They get a non-conference game. So, Virginia and Coastal.
Obviously, you're an idiot, Corn. Maybe you should
I wasn't going to
check.
say that. No,
maybe I should check before I say something is obvious when it's not obvious. But, it seemed to me like it would be early.
Army is their season opener.
Is that where?
In Conway.
In Conway. Army's coming down here.
Yes.
Wow. That's terrific. And that'll be a tough ball game.
That's it.
Army's nothing to laugh. Even though they lost to Navy this year, they're no slouch. What you got, Pat?
I'm just looking at the future schedules for UVA here, and it looks like they play Coastal 3 of the next 4 years.
That is correct. Yep.
Wow.
That is also correct.
Yeah. Didn't realize we had this long-standing rivalry between Coastal and Virginia coming up. All right, to Rodney in North Charleston, I think it is. Next up here on the program. I'm sorry, Mount Pleasant. My bad, Rodney, just across the bridge. How are you?
I'm well, Phil. Wanted to give you a correction on at least what you were probably thinking. He's playing early as far as the first season of his coaching career, but it just happened to be at the end of the season of the first season. So
there you go.
You weren't, incorrect, just stated wrong.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't know if I'll get a chance to hold on to the break, but when you reported that the Orangeburg, in my case, I say the Bulldogs of South Carolina. I'm still on the campus of the Citadel, but we took it to the other dogs. We started out pretty good, lost the lead, and just before halftime got a 2-point lead. Then when we came out in the second half, pretty much started taking control, and it stayed right around, say, give or take 8 to 10, and then about, say, 8 minutes or so left in the second half, we pulled away and kept the lead. But overall, if you had to ask me when I saw them play College of Charleston in the beginning of the season, I was like, oh, no, here we go again. CFC had a completely new staff, and we have a new head coach, but then we get run off the court. But these past few weeks, they've done well, with the exception of Duke. They've been playing tough, went down to South Florida, won Tennessee State at home. I don't know how that got scheduled, but while I was there in Atlanta watching us beat Jackson State, I found out that we beat Tennessee State. So I said, let's keep the mojo going. I made sure I got here and I got to see what I wanted to see, the Citadel Bulldogs go down to my Bulldogs. So we're going to try to finish out the Port City as far as beating Charleston Southern tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then the first MEAC game will be it'll be the 8th, so that's the second weekend in Saturday because the month comes in on Saturday, so they won't be playing then. But
yeah, Coppin State.
We're gonna do our best to keep riding this celebration, so to speak, going through into 22. So if you haven't had a chance to see the basketball team, get down there. We have a player from Virgin Islands, and he's tall, 6'9".
If you want to hang on, we got to hit the break. If you want to hang on, Rodney, be right back.
Before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin's announcement that he cannot support the Democrats' Build Back Better legislation is getting pushback from the White House. Press Secretary Jen Psaki says President Biden is concerned about the cost of inaction.
If we do not act to get this legislation done and the components in it, not only will costs and prices go up for the American people, but also we will see a trajectory in economic growth that is not where we want it to be. And we've seen projections from Goldman Sachs and others today on that front.
Manchin tells Metro News Talkline ultimately he ended up disagreeing not with President Biden, but with members of the president's staff.
Staff driven. I understand staff. This is not the president. This is staff. And they drove some things and they put some things out that were absolutely inexcusable. They know what it is, and that's it.
Warning that extremism in the ranks is increasing. Pentagon officials are issuing detailed new rules prohibiting service members from actively engaging in extremist activities. Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby says the number of military members that have been involved in extremist activity has been low.
The vast majority of men and women in our armed forces, as of course you know, serve honorably. While extremist activity in the force is rare, any instance can have an outsized effect.
The Pentagon believes the number may grow given recent spikes in domestic violent extremism, particularly among veterans. The State Department is advising American citizens not to travel to Ukraine, citing increased threats from Russia amid its military buildup along the country's border. The travel advisory says Americans should be aware of reports that Russia is planning for significant military action against Ukraine and that security could deteriorate. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 433 points, the Nasdaq dropped 188, the S&P 500 lower by 52. More on these stories available at townhall.com.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best price from nearly a dozen highly rated, price-competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote Life. For example, George is 40. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $25 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino. And believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For a free quote, call 800-523-3771. That's 800-523-3771. 800-523-3771. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says China will use the upcoming Winter Games as propaganda for its communist regime.
Pompeo is critical of corporate support for the games in China. That includes NBC.
They're going to broadcast Xi Jinping. They are on February 3rd at the opening ceremony. He will be on a big high platform.
A platform Pompeo says is not fitting for the head of China's Communist Party.
Who is holding 1 million or more people in the western part of his country in camps that look and feel much like what we saw in the 1930s.
Pompeo's final act as Secretary of State was to declare China's campaign against the Uyghurs a genocide. Bob Agnew reporting.
A Japanese billionaire, his producer, and a Russian cosmonaut have safely returned to Earth after spending 12 days on the International Space Station. Fashion tycoon Yusaku Maezawa, His producer Yozo Hirano and Russian cosmonaut Alexander Misurkin made a soft landing in a Russian Soyuz capsule. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast: cloudy this evening with a low dipping to 36. Tomorrow is the first day of winter, and it'll feel like it with heavy rain in the afternoon, likely at a high temp of 47. Things improve Wednesday as some morning rain clears out for the afternoon, and we're back up to 59 as a high. The rest of the week is wonderful, including 70 and sunny on Christmas. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather. WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. Ooh, I like when you press that one.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network on a Monday night. A reminder, we're here every night this week. Well, Chris isn't here every night this week. You're gone when?
Thursday and Friday.
Yeah. And Pat, you're going when this week? When are you going?
Oh, this is my only night this week. You didn't know that?
Merry Christmas, Phil.
Bah, humbug. Pat and I will be here. I think Smitty, Smitty wouldn't. He could fill in, but he's gone too. So looks like it's just you and me, boy, for the rest of the week. Well, after a couple more nights.
Yeah.
After Chris is done.
All okay with that. Sounds great. At this point in my life, I'll admit I'm not married. I don't have kids. This is a nice and polite way of getting out of certain Christmas Eve parties that I would rather not attend. So.
Yeah, that's a great idea. You know what I do when I have a dinner party at the house and I'm tired of the people? You know what I do? You know what what a good secret is? You have to tell anybody. I guess I'm giving my secret here. Go wash the dishes. That's what I do. You see me washing the dishes? That's a sign that I'm tired of this party and I'm ready for you to leave.
It's funny you say that,
and
Bill.
I'm washing the dishes. Yeah, that's what I do. I go wash the dishes.
That's exactly what my sister does.
And Corn, now that you're a proud dog owner, you have an extra excuse there. Like, oh, the dog needs to go for a walk. I guess I got to go.
Yeah, that too. No, I just go wash the dishes and I'll be over here for 45 minutes. Got to wash all the coffee cups and saucers and all this sort of stuff. Before we get back to Rodney for his final thought, another basketball score. Newberry won today and erasing a 17-point deficit, beat Lenore-Rhine 66-65. So they're 6-6 and 6-4. All right, Rodney, you're going to tell us about one of the stars of the South Carolina State team so far?
Yeah, he's a freshman. His last name is Davis. I can't remember his first name right now, but he's number 2. I just remembered people in the Columbia area. I think it's next Wednesday. The Bulldogs will be heading up I-26 to play the Gamecocks. But he's a slender built, I guess, in the mold of how Davis, the guy who plays with the Lakers right now, was when he was first at Kentucky. He's similar to him, but he has skills. He can shoot outside, but he's 6'9" and can play inside some. But I think, my gosh, I just had brain lock.
Jamel Davis is
Tim
his name, by the way. Jamel Davis.
Yeah. Tim Duncan is, I think, from the Virgin Islands, or at least in that area. But when I saw that, I immediately thought of him, and he showed his skills. Like I said, on the court, he had a couple of blocks, had a couple of 3-point shots, but overall the team played well. It's just night and day. When I saw them play against CSC, I had good seats right behind the basket, but I didn't like what I saw because every which way they could mess up, they did. But this game, it's amazing what confidence can do. But real quick, finishing up, as far as my adventure down to Atlanta, I hadn't been in the new Mercedes-Benz place since they've been built. I went to the first Heritage Bowl, and I had to just support it overall for the game itself as well as the conference. But when I got my seats, I got them later than I had planned. So the area that I was in, I was surrounded by Jackson State people. So when I sat down before the game, I said, hopefully I'm not going to have to swarm off, rabid Jackson State fans. But after their first touchdown, I didn't have any issues, and I took it easy on them. I had people thinking that I was going to give them trouble, but for the most part, the Bulldogs' actions spoke for itself. They was just total domination. And I joke with people. Corey decided he's from Hollywood. Evidently, he wanted to have a dramatic ending. Play bad in the first part of the game, and then all of a sudden put on his change of clothes and say, you know what, it's time to become Superman. So the Low Country Connection took care of business. I think 3 touchdown passes were all of the Low Country Connection. And of course, Shaq is from Somerville, and the other wide receiver, number 86, was his teammate as far as Corey at Baptist Hill. So it was just tickle pink. The key thing that I want right now, Phil, I've gotten a big Christmas present, having the Bulldog basketball team won, the football team won.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have the state of South Carolina. It was good unity as far as today at the Citadel. They had a trivia question asking about SC State, and the fan knew everything. He knew the conference we were in, and then I think it was one other question he knew the answer. I appreciate what you do, Phil, as far as always giving the Bulldogs, as far as SC State Bulldogs, airtime. I want the state of South Carolina to remember their name as far as in sports. It cringes me when I hear everybody think of any other team to think of other than South Carolina and Clemson. SC State has the name of the state, South Carolina State. We have 2 living Hall of Famers. I mean, need I say more, Phil?
You need not. And thank you.
All right.
And you don't have to thank us. I mean, listen, we cover all the teams in the state best way we can as a sports talk show. We try to get all the coaches on. We try to visit every school. I wish we could go to more games. I wish we could. There's only so much we can do. There's only so many ways you can, chop us up and move us around. But thank you for that. We cover state because state is one of ours. They're just like Coastal and just like Newberry and PC, all of them. I consider them all of ours. This show is a state of South Carolina show. We cover the things that happen in this state. And, I was just as pleased as I could be. I was actually listening to the game on a national network that had been set up to do bowl games. And they did a really nice job, except the play-by-play announcer 3 times said that the South Carolina State Bulldogs from Spartanburg, South Carolina. I wanted to just reach my hand into the radio and grab him by the throat. It's Orangeburg. In fact, Chris and I were trying to count up in the state of South Carolina, and maybe y'all can help us. We could come up with, I think, 4 towns in the state that has a burg in the name. Spartanburg, Orangeburg, Bamberg, Richburg. And if there's another one, I can't think of it off the top of my head. If you can think of it, let me know.
I really can't, from even going, through the upstates and from the PD towards the Grand Strand.
Oh, there's Jedburg. There is Jedburg.
Jedburg?
There's Jedburg. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's
I'm not,
a new one on me.
I'm not quite.
South Carolina.
You don't have to have a red light to be considered a town. Okay. If you have a crossroad and you have a sign that says just says the name. There is a Jedburg. I can't remember.
As long as you have a Dollar General in your town, it's a town, right?
A Dollar General. That's right.
That makes a town. That makes you a town.
But there is a Jedburg, so that's another one.
Never heard of
That's another one.
Where
named
is that?
Is it Low Country or is it Upstate? I go back and forth. I've been by Jedburg, through Jedburg. Probably got a speeding ticket in Jedburg. Oh, Blacksburg. Oh, Batesburg. Just got 2 more. My buddy Brandon, who's much smarter than I am. Yeah, Blacksburg, and I forgot Blacksburg and Batesburg. Yeah, it's 2 more. So we're up to about what?
6,
7 or 8.
Yep.
But I mean, going back to what the guy said, 3 times he said they're from Spartanburg, South Carolina.
mistake.
Yeah.
Especially for a national broadcast.
It happens.
And
It happened.
I
But
understand
they had another bad mistake. I felt terrible for the lady, their sideline announcer. And they all sound really good and professional and all that. Late in the ball game, the game was over pretty much. They threw it down to the sideline announcer lady, and she has a Hall of Famer, a Pro Football Hall of Famer, Robert Brazil. Is that his name? Robert Brazil. He's in the Hall of Fame. I think he played with the Steelers. And so she introduces him and starts to ask him a question. And she goes, Robert Brazil, Pro Football Hall of Famer, you must be awfully proud of your South Carolina State Bulldogs. And they're winning the HBCU National Championship.
Whoops.
And first thing out of his mouth was, I played at Jackson State. And she did a quick pivot and said, well, it's a proud day for Jackson State, too, isn't it now? And, oh, excuse me. Da, 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 da. So anyway, they had a couple little rough spots there, but that's okay. We all have our issues when it comes to that. I imagine you've actually had a faux pas or two from the coastal sideline.
Oh, I'll tell you one of the great stories of my broadcasting career. This is where, and you'll remember Bobby Ivy.
Oh, yeah, the great Lawrence coach.
Yes, sir. My first radio gig was up in our affiliate at WLBG, and I started doing Lawrence High School football. And so I was fresh, thought I knew everything, realized real quickly I knew nothing. And Lawrence at that juncture had had actually two quarterbacks that they felt confident enough that they could rotate in series. One of them happened to be a left-hander. The other one happened to be a right-hander. This is where I learned to, as a play-by-play guy, the last thing you do is take your eyes off the field.
Yep.
So I noticed after a couple of series that the quarterback would throw with his left hand for a while and then throw with his right hand for a while. And I made the comment about it. Hey, Lawrence has an ambidextrous quarterback. I got a phone call the next week. Coach Ivy wanted me to come by the office, and he was going to help me out a little bit. So God bless Bobby Ivy, because he actually gave me some tips that I still use to this day in 25, almost 30 years of broadcasting. But yeah, the ambidextrous quarterbacks at Lawrence High School.
He's one of the best. He's one of the best. Lynchburg. Lynchburg is another
great one.
Forgot about Lynchburg. Right, drive over the Lynchburg River all the time. Lynch's River.
Right.
Well, that's right. That's not far from you.
Down in Sumter County, right?
Lynchburg, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it going off of I-20. All right. Well, that's great. That's a great story, too. That's funny. All right.
I will never forget that, because I actually keep a card that I leave in front of me, and it's got different adjectives, because it's real easy, as you well know, Phil, doing football or basketball. You start using the same words to describe things over and over and over again. So I just want something fresh in my mind. And one of the things that has always said, keep your eyes on the field, because I don't want to ever have the ambidextrous quarterback at Lawrence come back to haunt me again.
That's fantastic. All right. We had three live poll questions going over the last couple of days. I had another one about who was going to win the Clemson South Carolina basketball game. Most people picked USC, but that was before they had all the players drop out. So the one about how do you judge Dabo Swinney's decision to promote from within on his staff ended up being 49% of the vote, 632 votes, said it's a mistake. The program is doomed.
Wow.
33% said he knows what he's doing, get off his back. And about 18% said risky, but will work. Then the instant reaction poll, does Spencer Rattler become the best quarterback in South Carolina once he steps foot in Columbia? 563 votes. 77.3% said yes. 15% said no, Grayson McCall is. And 7.6% said no, DJ Uyanglele is. And our current poll question, the one that'll carry us through this week, 265 votes are in. What bothers you the most about today's world of college sports? The four possible replies: the transfer portal, name, image, likeness, coaches taking other jobs, nothing, it's all good. And you would vote what, Mr. Bergen?
The transfer portal, without a doubt.
How about you, Mr. Pat?
I'm sorry, I was building the commercial and didn't hear what you asked, Corn.
Well, the poll question of the week, 4 responses. What bothers you the most about today's world of college sports? The transfer portal, name, image, likeness, coaches taking other jobs, or nothing, it's all good?
Nothing. It's all good. I love college football.
Yeah, you would. You would. Well, 34.3% say the transfer portal. 32.1% name, image, likeness. 22.3% say nothing. It's all good. How many times have you voted here, Pat?
I would actually say name, image, and likeness, by the way, which might surprise you.
11.3% say coaches taking other jobs is what bothers them the most about today's world of college sports. And by that, I mean leaving your contract, walking away from your contract to take a better job from a contract and payment standpoint, leaving your program high and dry for the next guy.
And by the way, Phil, I found this stat about Grayson McCall we were chatting about earlier. Officially broke the record for the single highest passing efficiency season of FBS quarterbacks of all time. 207.7, better than Mac Jones back in 2020.
Wow. And Mac Jones is turning out to be a terrific NFL quarterback, surprising many. We'll be back.
Touchstone Energy cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
We've got Major Billy Downer with us here from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Hunting season is upon us. Major Downer, how do we stay safe?
Smitty, that's a great question. Mistaken for game is a leading cause of hunting accidents each year. So this year, DNR is encouraging everyone to wear hunter orange and use a flashlight when traveling to and from your hunting location in low light. Remember, be safe, be seen.
And remember, life's better outdoors. Visit dnr.sc.gov for more.
All South Carolinians aged 5 years and older are now eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. For help finding a vaccine location in your area, visit scdhec.gov/vaxlocator or call 1-866-365-8110. COVID-19 vaccines are free and don't require ID or insurance. Visit scdhec.gov/vaxlocator or call 1-866-365-8110 to find a vaccine location near you.
All right, time for the recruiting report brought to you by Seawells. Of course, they'll have a short week this week for the holiday. Pat, do we know what days they happen to be closed this week? Can you pull that up? While I wait for that, I'll remind you that they're always available for your catering needs for your special event. Maybe it's an awards banquet or a business luncheon or a wedding reception, a birthday party, corporate outing, whatever the case may be. Maybe just a big old party. You need the best in catering at Seawells. For over 70 years, they have done it the best of anybody in South Carolina. 1125 Rosewood Drive in Columbia. They'll come to your location. 803-771-7385 is the number. And as far as the daily luncheon buffet this week?
Yeah, so Seawells has not actually updated their website yet. I see last week's schedule. I do not see one for this week. Also, unfortunately, don't see if they're closed any days. So we'll confirm tomorrow about whether they'll be open towards the end of the week as we get closer to Christmas.
Okay. I feel like they will be probably latter part of the week. But we'll check on that and see if we can get some confirmation. So in recruiting, kind of a quiet day for you. Obviously, things are slowing down a little bit. We did tell you at the start that Raheem Jeter, the 23 quarterback from Spartanburg, committed to West Virginia. All right, nice move for him. Good pickup for them. Trying to get some more information on Javonte McClendon's situation. I've reached into the legal system there down in Polk County, Florida, and have gotten to the state attorney's office there in Bartow, Florida, trying to get with the state attorney. They have promised me a response as to whether or not the charges against the one-time USC commitment have been dropped. As McClendon perhaps indicated in his Instagram tweet his Instagram post on Friday, where he said he had the video of Shane Beamer talking about the recruits and said, "I'll be there soon." Kind of an indication, at least that's how I took it, that things are getting worked out for him. So, but nothing definite yet. Still trying to get that one firmed up. Greenville quarterback Pro Franklin was offered by Tennessee Martin, and South Carolina State's become a major factor for him. And he plans to take an official visit there in January. He's also looking at Marshall and UT Martin for January visits. He'd been in some conversation with USC about one of their spots, but they're now full up, and that's over. This season, he passed for 3,432 yards and 37 touchdowns. And let's see if there's anything else here that's new that we haven't already mentioned. Over the weekend, Coastal Carolina place kicker Massimo Biscardi entered the transfer portal, John. Should have asked Coach about that as a grad transfer. So he's getting out of there. USC offered 2023 running back Trayon Webb of Jacksonville. He's a top flight running back nationally. He's already decommitted from Georgia and Oklahoma. In his career, he's rushed for 2,371 yards and 27 touchdowns. And USC offered a couple of guys here recently. 23 tight end Connor Cox, 6'6", 220 Jacksonville. And 24 defensive back C.J. Hurd, 5'11", 190 of Atlanta. Basketball, Clemson offered 23, 6'7", Cohen Carr, Stockbridge, Georgia. He goes to Legacy Early College in Greenville. Georgia, Georgia Tech, and Indiana, some other offers. There you go with recruiting here on this Monday. Some quick words from USC basketball coach Frank Martin. As you know, they are dealing with the situation with players being out now for COVID. Also, from an injury standpoint, a couple of those players may be back by the time they play Army on Wednesday afternoon. Didn't say which ones. And, of course, dealing with the sting of the loss to Clemson. Here are some words from Frank Martin from earlier today.
We've worked this team, and that doesn't change my opinion of our team. I'm not a fan. I don't love them today and hate them tomorrow. That's not how I roll. I'm just sharing with you what my disappointment is. I like this team a lot. My opinion there will not deviate. These guys are committed to helping us and growing. Unfortunately, we didn't play with the right personality against Clemson. Moving forward, I think we're going to have two guys back for the game Wednesday, but I will not have that answer until late tomorrow. They will not practice today with the team. They're working out. Those two are working out individually. They will not practice with us today or tomorrow, but there's a chance that they might play on Wednesday.
All right, questions. We'll go to Colin with the first one.
Yeah, Frank, just how is the overall health of the team in terms of those four guys that obviously missed, Jermaine, and then obviously AJ's out for a while, but just Jermaine and some of those positive guys?
Yeah, I mean, you saw Jermaine play the other day. I don't know. Sometimes he limps, sometimes he don't. It's he's got to figure out a way to get himself back to a place of peace with his body so he can go out there and compete and compete at a high level, not just kind of be in between. There's nothing worse in life than when you're in between, in anything you do. When you're in between with an injury, when you're in between, it's not good. I remember Hassani Gravett coming to see me in my room. We were at Alabama, and he had rolled an ankle, and he had been out a little over 2 weeks. And he came to see me in my room. He goes, I'm like at 90%, but I don't, should I play if I'm not 100%? I said, you're asking the wrong guy. If you were to ask me, my opinion, I play with a sprained ankle, but I'm not you. You have to play when you're at peace with your body, where you can go out there and be all in, not be in between. And that's where Jermaine has to get to. With the COVID guys, they're in a good place. It's not like they're, knock on wood. It's not like they're laying in bed, close to, needing a respirator. No, they're fine. They're perfectly fine. And, it's just, the policies that are in place that are difficult. And on that topic, I want to clarify something that I don't think I expressed the right way the other day when I spoke on that. The vaccinated guys, it's 10 days. Well, that's what it was when we had no vaccines. Unvaccinated guys, how many negative tests does an unvaccinated player have to produce before they're allowed to play? don't comprehend. I mean, you can be negative 7 consecutive days and you're still not allowed to play. And that. So when I spoke the other day, I wasn't trying to throw unvaccinated people under the bus. On the contrary, I'll speak of my children. One of my children didn't want to get vaccinated. The other 2 just got vaccinated when I told them to. Actually, when my wife told them to. My third one got vaccinated when he got, and it's my son, Brandon, when he ended up getting, we had a positive in the summer and he had to go on isolation or quarantine or whatever you call it for 7-8 days. And he goes, that.
I have to break in here because we're coming up on a break, but you can hear Frank Martin, what he's talking about, his issues with the fact that they are still applying pre-vaccination rules to the vaccinated, and he makes a good argument there. We'll be back.
Is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Cloudy this evening with a low dipping to 36. Tomorrow is the first day of winter, and it'll feel like it with heavy rain in the afternoon, likely at a high temp of 47. Things improve Wednesday as some morning rain clears out for the afternoon, and we're back up to 59 as a high. The rest of the week is wonderful, including 70 and sunny on Christmas. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
A well-regulated humidor being necessary to the preservation of a cigar, the right of the people to keep and enjoy cigars shall not be infringed. For those who love a great cigar and want to spend time with others who are like-minded, the Cigar Militia offers the experience you're looking for. We're located in the Colonial Village next to the Melting Pot. The Cigar Militia offers exceptional cigars from around the world, staff to assist you in your selections, private cigar lockers, and a lounge where members can relax and enjoy.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting. Former President Donald Trump sued New York Attorney General Letitia James on Monday as he seeks to end a years-long civil investigation into his business practices that he alleges is purely political. In the lawsuit filed in federal court 2 weeks after James requested that Trump sit for a January 7th deposition, Mr. Trump contends the probe into matters, including his company's valuation of assets, has violated his constitutional rights in a, quote, thinly veiled effort to publicly malign Trump and his associates, unquote. The lawsuit describes James, a Democrat, as having personal disdain for the Republican ex-president. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 433 points. The Nasdaq dropped 188. The S&P 500 lower by 52. Oil down to 68.66 a barrel. This is SRN News.
Hey, Kev here with Tim Henberry from Medicare Blueprint. Open enrollment for the ACA runs through January the 15th. Tim, what's important for our listeners to know?
Well, things have really improved for everybody, Kevin. Whether you're making $20,000 a year or $200,000 a year, we can save you money on your health insurance costs. And Kevin, we do all the work for you. We'll ask you a few questions, and then we'll show you the plans that are the best fit for you. And whether you've been on a plan for a while or looking for coverage for the first time, we'll show you what your options are. And there's no better time than to look at it right now. We can get you better benefits and save you money at the same time. And the best part of this is it just takes one quick phone call and we'll do the rest.
Tim's team has helped save me a ton of money on my health care. If you need help with open enrollment, it'll cost you nothing to call Tim. Just give him a shout at Medicare Blueprint, 803-708-7405, 803-708-7405, or find him online at MedicareBlueprint.com.
Hi, this is Taylor Metz.
And this is Roger Metz, your host of Woods and Water, South Carolina.
The time around Christmas and New Year's is one of our favorites to get outside together. No schedule, no stress, just go see what's out there.
Crisp mornings and cold nights will make you catch your breath, but there are lots of companies that make clothes for that, so there's no excuse for staying inside.
We hope you'll take some time this holiday season to get out there and discover the outdoors and take someone with you to share the adventure.
We invite you to listen to Woods and Water, South Carolina in 2022 as we bring the outdoors to you every Saturday afternoon.
Right here on our home in the Midlands, 100.7 The Point.
Merry Christmas.
And Happy New Year.
Hey, Tiger fans, 2022 Clemson baseball season tickets are currently on sale. Coach Monty Lee and your Clemson Tiger baseball team open the season on February 18th, and you can be there for every game by purchasing your season tickets. Home series include matchups against Miami, Florida State, NC State, Georgia Tech, as well as our annual home games against South Carolina and Georgia, and many more. So log on to ClemsonTigers.com to purchase your Clemson baseball tickets and come back home to Clemson.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683.
Hey, it's Jay from the Melting Pot. One of the greatest gifts you can give your loved ones, family members, and best friends this holiday season is your time. And unlike other restaurants, you're not considered a table turn. We celebrate your time with us and each other when you come in and break bread together. We recognize a meal together these days is not just a photo op, but a real-life memory. We love to brag about our food, but we also love to brag about the memories you allow us to be part of. Merry Christmas from the Melting Pot, 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard.
Back we are on Sports Talk. Phil Kornbluth, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel on this Monday night. Well, what a few days it's been for South Carolina State. We talked about the basketball team getting hot and beating the Citadel tonight down in Charleston. On Friday, they had the President of the United States in for graduation, and he gave a speech. But we can top all that because tonight, right now, this day, we have the President of the world on with us, and that is South Carolina State football coach Buddy Pugh. I'm not sure anybody can top him tonight in this state. Good to have you with us, Coach. Congratulations. How are you?
Thank you, Phil. Great to be here.
It's great to have you with us. And have you stopped smiling yet?
No, I think I'm still trying to figure out exactly what happened. I'm a little bit worried that this might not be true. So, don't pick your heels or snap your fingers and that kind of stuff, because then I might go snap out of this.
Well, it's a beautiful thing to watch when it comes together for a team. And, maybe everybody played a little bit above themselves. Maybe everybody coached a little bit above themselves. I don't know. It just looked like a great all-around performance for you guys on Saturday.
It was. Our defense really had a magnificent game, and our kicking game was good, Phil. Our kicker, Dr. Roberts from over Sumter High School, really had a fantastic football game. He did all kinds of stuff. He made tackles. He kicked balls. He held for us on field goals. It was like one of the better games I can remember for one guy having it, the special team side of things.
I know you don't hear this much from the media, but I'll say it. I mean, I thought you and your coaches called a tremendous game. It just seemed like offensively you hit Jackson State with plays that countered what they were doing. And then conversely, defensively, play calls, the blitzes were proper. You hit them with things that countered what they were trying to do offensively. I just thought it was a well-called game.
Well, thank you. We got to take our hat off. Jonathan Saxon has been, I guess, maybe with us from the beginning almost as a player. Now he's our defensive coordinator. Bennett's our offensive coordinator, and Bennett did a fantastic job. There were times we thought we'd have to just kick the ball back to them. And it's sometimes hard, to be patient enough to kind of take your lumps and not just kind of go for it, but we did. And then Steve Bird, our special teams guy, really had a nice plan because they had a couple return guys that we were just definitely scared of. And we did not want to kick the ball to those guys, and we never did. So it was a fun game to watch as we, had something to do in each phase of the game that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, what was it that you or your coaches had to say during the ball game to Corey Fields to kind of calm him down? He got off to slow start, but then he heated up nicely for you and had a really good game. And then, of course, Davis had a tremendous game catching the football. So, but in particular, what about with Corey? What did y'all do to settle him down?
Yeah, well, we got to be right, settle down a little bit, and a large part of that's got to do with where we actually try to zero him in, on the field. He throws the ball so much better outside, and when clean, he doesn't take it very well to being banged up some. So you got to stand in there, and those hands are flying around. He's not a very big guy, so you don't necessarily get very much out of him when you're trying to throw the ball in these different windows and stuff. You're better off outside. So we just gave in to the fact that we had to just keep the ball outside and throw it around in a way where he could see things more clearly.
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina State head football coach Buddy Pugh with us here tonight on Sports Talk, fresh off their Celebration Bowl victory over the weekend against Jackson State. And Coach, you did such a terrific job against their run game. Now, throughout the year sort of appear to be a more pass-heavy team, but going in, could you have envisioned holding them to just 29 yards of rushing and had minus 55 yards in terms of tackles for loss against them? And was that the game plan to try and make them one-dimensional and make them have to throw it on your defense?
Well, Chris, we really didn't have an idea that they'd kind of chunked the run the way they did after they got behind at the half and we got into maybe the late part of the third quarter. And they were in most of the empty set, and we're not bringing them back in the backfield. They made it easy for us to be able to rush the pass and not have to worry about the run. So, it was, I think they were a little bit, starstruck, a little bit, shook by the fact that they couldn't run the football, so they just gave up on it. And it was a worst case. If they had just kept them back in the backfield, I think they'd have been better off because they wouldn't have necessarily known, or we wouldn't have known for sure that they weren't going to run the ball. But I can tell you that we run about as well as anybody. And in a case where if you're going to be, pretty much one dimension that way, then I guarantee you our guys can run your quarterback down that way. So it worked out for us that they kind of gave in and gave us an opportunity to just get after the quarterback that way.
55 yards lost on the ground, also 3 sacks by SC State in the win over the weekend. And Coach, I have to ask just because I want to know, what was the experience like for you having been in this business for as long as you had? I know you've probably bumped into Deion Sanders on occasion, but what was it like being able to go head-to-head with him in terms of coaching against him?
It was good, but I didn't really feel like it was a me against him kind of a deal. He may have had more to do with their offensive calls than I did. I'm kind of a delegate of sorts. Those guys do most of the calls. I call some of the critical plays, but I don't call very many on either side. But I can tell you that, it was a strange kind of sensation, the fact that we didn't communicate very much. He's kind of out of it, and most of the talk was with Gary Flea Harrell, gentleman who used to be the head coach at Howard, who was the assistant head coach, and he did most of the talking at the press conferences and at the banquets and that kind of stuff. So I didn't really get a chance to interact with him very much. I don't know whether or not, I was high enough for Luton to hang around with him. I was kind of, I was trying to just stay out of the way and try to keep him, being assassinated or something. Heck, I don't know what they do.
Talking with Buddy Pugh for a couple more minutes. I mean, this was huge and you've said this before, explaining why you go to the Celebration Bowl in Atlanta because of the exposure, national television on ABC with one of their primo broadcasting crews, a full house in Atlanta, great exposure. You can't pay for that kind of exposure. So what do you think this means, not just for South Carolina State, but for HBCU football in general? I've seen a lot of stuff on social media since Saturday espousing the virtues of going to an HBCU school for education and to play football.
I think it's going. I think the exposure, that way gives us some positive light that we hadn't had in a while. And regardless of whether you got or not, Deion helped us a bunch. All of the exposure and all those big time guys, the Eddie George did, all those guys going to different schools. I'm just hoping that some, really good doesn't decide they want my job before I'm ready to go.
Well, you're seeing these names come into HBCU football. You saw who Grambling just hired.
Yeah, exactly. That guy was a head guy in the NFL back a couple of years back. So, they've got all kinds of, and they're starting to pay those guys, good as far as, times on championship subdivision too. So I think that it's going to be a good positive thing for us for years to come. And as long as we can continue to find ways to also be a part of the playoffs, because I do like the idea of our second and third place teams, whatever they may be, having an opportunity to continue to, to have another way to, to have some kind of postseason play.
Mm-hmm.
A wonderful way for us to do it. This definitely is the best case scenario for us because the money is so much better, the exposure is so much better that you get a chance to rally your fan base in a way that the excitement of the South State alumni base and all of the different people that that hold us so near is so much stronger than I've been years until I just can't imagine, how we do it this chance again.
Yeah. Last thing, we'll let you go. I know you just got back into Orangeburg, probably over the weekend. So what's ahead to celebrate this Celebration Bowl victory? Any idea of what they've got in mind for you there in Orangeburg?
Yeah. Well, we're trying to come up with ideas on exactly how, best to celebrate praise and banquets, kind of stuff that way. But, more than anything else right now, we just kind of sitting here just trying to collect it all and figure it all out. I tell you what, we'll do something pretty nice in a little bit after we get back in January.
You got
Coach, I think you need to do an Aflac commercial. That would be perfect. You need to do an Aflac commercial along with Dion.
Yeah, I'm sure that I'm sure they come and get a pretty guy like me to do something like that.
I don't know. You might have to get a release from your Zeus contract to make that happen. So I'm not sure.
Hey, all right, slow down. Let's go in another direction now.
Hey, we thank you so much. Congratulations on everything. It was a great weekend, and you guys deserved it. You played the best. You were the better team, better coached, and executed better. It all came together. And enjoy a little bit of an off season here, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks much, Bill. Y'all have a good evening.
You too, sir.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, Buddy Pugh, the one and only. They don't make him any better than Buddy Pugh, and it's good to see good guys win and get the accolades that have been coming his way all weekend long.
He'd be a lot of fun on an Affleck commercial with Saban and Dion, wouldn't he?
I think he would. I mean, I don't know. What color jacket would he wear? And, what kind of chain would he have around his neck? That'd be interesting to see. All right, we'll be right back. Oh, Clemson has made an in-state offer. We'll tell you about it after the break.
Life. It has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsiblysc.com.
Hey, folks, mortgage rates have dipped to their lowest levels in recent history. And with home values up in many areas, now may be the perfect time to refinance your home. Whether you're looking to lower your monthly payments, free up cash for home improvements, or just pay off your home faster, a quick call to the one and only Stuart Wingo of Ameris Bank could save you money. If you're looking for competitive rates and exceptional service, call Stuart Wingo. 803-319-1777. That's 803-319-1777. You will save money just like I have so many times over the years. You can also visit him, amerisbank.com/Stuart Wingo. Stuart Wingo, the man with the plan for all your mortgage needs.
Hi, I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and I've got a great gift idea that requires zero shopping. The gift of college savings. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan makes it easy. Grandparents, friends, and family can all contribute to a Future Scholar account and know that they're providing a gift that will last a lifetime. If you're looking for the perfect gift this holiday season, look no further. Learn more about the smart, easy way to save and give this holiday season at futurescholar.com.
So Clemson has offered Daniel defensive end Jaheim Lawson, brother of Shaq Lawson. He just tweeted that out a little while ago, 6'4", 230. Had a really big year for Daniel. Was outstanding in the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl a couple of weeks ago, practically unblockable. He was in the backfield all day long. So really good-looking player. Georgia Tech and Syracuse and Coastal, East Carolina, Liberty, Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky, Central Michigan, some other offers that we had for him. And one other note, or two other notes I missed. USC Clemson target 2023 offensive tackle Joshua Miller, who's out of Virginia, committed to Penn State today. And Hilton Head native Cole DeMarzo, a linebacker, has entered the transfer portal. He was at Michigan State, and he's in the transfer portal. Don't know if he was there on scholarship or walk-on, but he's in the transfer portal. He's out of Hilton Head. All right, Mick Mixon coming up. Monday Night Mick, couple of minutes. But first, big showdown women's basketball tomorrow night in Columbia. Number 1, Gamecocks. Number 2, Cardinal. Dawn Staley of the Gamecocks today gave a preview of what to look forward to in this mega showdown tomorrow night.
I thought we just complicated things. If we just play simple basketball, move it, get the ball, flatten the defense out, get the ball to the baseline with the short corner or the corner. It flattened the defense out. We couldn't quite get there. But you live and you learn.
Reason for it? Maybe just fatigue from the schedule.
I think it was a little mental fatigue. Not to take anything away from Duke and their game plan and all of that. I thought we were a little bit better at Maryland. We came off of finals, so we had some rest and all of that. But it is what it is. We'll learn from it and we'll get better.
Given how the season ended last year, who you lost to was Stanford. They're coming to this gym. How do you approach this game with your team, given the fans are certainly going to want revenge, and maybe that's still lingering a little bit in your team's mind as well, given how last year ended?
We actually last year really never came up, besides if we saw a little bit of the things that we needed to improve on or some of the things that we needed to do well in a film session. I think we're a totally different team than we were last year, certainly from an offensive standpoint and a defensive standpoint. I think we're a little more sharp in what we're doing on both sides of the basketball. We're at home, so that should help. But it's not we want to win because we want to win. If we can do that and people think it's avenging a loss, great. We're just trying to focus on this year.
In terms of Bree, we know she had that look at the end. As a coach, how did you help her kind of manage that moment and the emotion of that shot at the end of the game? There's certainly a lot of plays that lead up to the outcome. Yeah. But how did you help her kind of navigate that week that she said she took to kind of process it, to get her in the right headspace, to be the player she is this season?
You leave it alone. The more you bring it up, the more they have to replay it in their heads. And it was just separation from the actual, layup that she got. So nothing, I think for those type of plays and experiences, it's about you and how quickly you can get over it. I'm over it. I was over it probably a week after. It is, and then you get to a point where it's destiny. It wasn't our day. It wasn't our tournament. It wasn't our national championship to get. So the quicker you can turn the page, the quicker you can get on to things that you can control, and that is winning basketball games the following year.
Coach, at this point in the season, with how all the teams that you guys have played and beaten, do you feel like, and you guys are the unanimous number one, do you feel like you guys are the team this season that everyone's gunning for to take down?
Yeah, we're in the number one spot. We weren't, we'd be gunning for the team that's in that spot. And I think our players are handling it well because we don't, we don't think very highly of ourselves. We know our weaknesses are. We know We have yet to put like a complete game together without having a lot of turnovers, with being efficient. And then our defense is holding, it's holding us up. We're just trying to just clean up our offense and making sure we get shots at the basket.
All right, there you go. Dawn Staley. Should be a great game tomorrow night at the Colonial Life Arena. We'll see if the Gamecocks can sell it out, get maybe 15,000 plus or so in there and have a great crowd, holiday crowd. And she is asking, Coach Staley is asking all the fans that are going in to wear masks because they're trying to stay healthy and keep the games open for everybody. They don't want to go back to playing in front of no fans. So she's asking all the Gamecock fans to wear their masks inside the arena. Meantime, in Charlotte, they're asking Panther fans to put a bag over their head for the next home game.
Fourth down 2. Backs are in the eye. Gilliam in front of Singletary.
Oh my
fake
gosh.
to Gilliam and Singletary,
Wow.
and a sprint right option pass. Davis wide open, end zone, complete, touchdown.
All right, the Panthers took it on the chin, chinny chin chin, up in Buffalo, 31-14 yesterday. We'll have Mick Mixon with us in just a moment. I was hoping he was on the line. Hopefully he was on the line. His line dropped. Hopefully he was on the line when I mentioned the bag on the head. Were you?
That was good.
Were you? You like that, huh?
I did.
Yeah. Dawn Staley wants you to wear masks in tomorrow night, but we suggest Panther fans wear bags over their heads next home game. Mick, how are you?
I'm good, Corn. I expected some Rodney Dangerfield, Don Rickles-like Barb from you tonight, but my gosh, what a season. The winter of our discontent. The explosive play capability is kind of missing from this offense. The Panthers are having to just kind of grind it out every drive. Can't afford even a simple 5 penalty that sends everything into chaotic sense of urgency. I don't know. It's just not good right now.
Are they not aware this is your last hurrah and you need to be going off, being carried off the field with a trophy in your hand? What's up with that?
Well, they crowds have chased me, but they've been carrying a bucket of tar and some feathers, so that's what made me a little nervous. But
yeah.
No, it's not about us, Corn. We just do I'll try to do every game like it's the Super Bowl. But selfishly, I would at least like to get, a couple of first downs, maybe just score some points here before the last 3 games are over.
Yeah, I know it's tough, injuries and just poor performance and all that. Where do you think they go from here? The last 3 games. You think they now start playing for draft position, or how do they handle it?
They won't tank, Corn. Matt Rule's team will try to fight and win these last 3, and try to take them one game at a time, go 1-0 each week, as we know. But I think now more and more the conversation is shifting to the off season, to the big underlying disorder, the elements that have entered the building, so to speak, and sat right down here, and that's O-line and quarterback. So how would you play it? Would you try to fix the O-line first and then bring in your trigger man, or if you can get a marquee signal caller or somebody you like in the draft, would you go that route first?
Well, you've tried trading and you've tried drafting, and you've tried, bringing back, people from the dead. Nothing seems to be working at this point. Maybe Jake Delhomme can come down from the booth and help you out the last 3 games. I tell you, go trade with the Ravens for that quarterback they had yesterday, man. That, he's going to be trade bait because he's not going to surpass Lamar Jackson, but he's really, really good. My point is, you got to fix the quarterback position before you can go anywhere in today's football. That's my simple belief.
Agreed. And, you got to have a lead singer in the band. I think if Aaron Rodgers was available, if Russell Wilson was available, if Deshaun Watson, if that deal could work out, the Panthers might be interested. David Tepper's not scared to write whatever check is necessary. He's desirous of a marquee top-tier quarterback. So we'll see how she plays out.
Monday night with Mick Mixon here on Sports Talk. Final couple of moments here of the show. And speaking of the quarterback position, let's talk in the now, Mick. Is it possible that Sam Darnold may come off injured reserve and perhaps get back into the starting lineup this weekend against Tampa Bay?
Yeah, maybe not this weekend, Chris, but definitely more, I'd say even more probable than possible. He had a series of tests today to determine if his scapula, the bone at the back of the shoulder, could take contact. And if he passes those tests, then I think the Panthers could try to get him back at practice and then either maybe ready for this weekend or most likely the last two games of the season to kind of see what we have in Sam Darnold, and so that maybe other teams could see the best of Sam.
I do have one other quick question, Mick, about the way the NFL schedules. Does it make any sense to you that you play your final 3 divisional games back to back to back at the end of the year? I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but you play Tampa, New Orleans, and then Tampa again. Would it make more sense to play some of your division games earlier in the year as well?
Yeah, kind of, especially since the Bucs are mad, salty, and what happened to them last night against the Saints. But it's not uncommon. We've had this with Atlanta where you play them 2 out of 3. So I think we're going to be okay, though. Don't give up on the ship.
All right, my man. Thank you, Mick. Have a great one. And thank you, everybody, for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Someone will be right with you.
The Point. WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.